Why does happiness seem so elusive, no matter how hard we chase it? The pursuit of happiness has become an obsession in our modern world. We're bombarded with messages telling us that if we just buy this product, achieve that goal, or look a certain way, we'll finally be happy. Yet despite all our efforts, true contentment remains frustratingly out of reach for many of us. This disconnect stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of how happiness actually works. We've been sold a false bill of goods, the idea that happiness is a destination we can arrive at if we just follow the right steps. In reality, happiness is more like a skill that requires ongoing practice and cultivation. Our brains are wired with a negativity bias, an evolutionary adaptation that helped our ancestors survive by staying alert to potential threats. This means we're naturally inclined to dwell on problems and worst-case scenarios rather than appreciating the good in our lives. Overcoming this innate tendency requires conscious effort. We also fall into the trap of hedonic adaptation, the psychological phenomenon where we quickly get used to positive changes in our lives and return to our baseline level of satisfaction. That new car or promotion provides a brief burst of joy, but soon becomes our new normal. This leaves us constantly chasing the next high, stuck on a hedonic treadmill that never leads to lasting fulfillment. Social media exacerbates these issues by bombarding us with curated highlight reels of others' lives. We compare our messy reality to these polished facades and feel inadequate. The constant barrage of information also shortens our attention spans, making it harder to be present and savor positive experiences. Our culture's emphasis on individualism and self-reliance can ironically lead to isolation and disconnection. Humans are inherently social creatures who need strong relationships to thrive. Yet we often prioritize career success and material goals over nurturing our bonds with others. The rise of consumerism has trained us to seek external solutions to internal problems. We look to products, experiences, and achievements to fill the void within us, rather than cultivating inner resources like gratitude, mindfulness, and self-compassion. Many of us are also operating with faulty definitions of success and self-worth. We tie our value to external metrics like wealth, status, or appearance rather than more meaningful measures like personal growth, contribution to others, or living in alignment with our values. Our fast-paced, always-on culture leaves little room for stillness and reflection. We're constantly bombarded with stimuli and to-do lists, rarely giving ourselves the space to process our emotions or connect with our deeper selves. The breakdown of traditional community structures and shared belief systems has left many feeling unmoored and lacking a sense of purpose or belonging. Without these anchors, it's easy to feel adrift and unsatisfied. Our education system often fails to equip us with crucial emotional intelligence and life skills. We learn advanced math but not how to regulate our emotions or cultivate healthy relationships. This leaves us ill-prepared to navigate life's challenges and find genuine fulfillment. The modern work environment, with its emphasis on productivity and bottom lines, often neglects employee well-being. Long hours, lack of autonomy, and disconnection from the end results of our labor can lead to burnout and a sense of meaninglessness. We've also lost touch with the natural world, spending most of our time in artificial environments. This disconnection from nature deprives us of its restorative effects on our mental and physical health. Many of us carry unresolved trauma or limiting beliefs from our past that act as invisible barriers to happiness. Without addressing these underlying issues, surface-level changes in our lives will have limited impact. Our society's attitude towards mental health is still evolving. There's often stigma around seeking help, and access to quality mental health care remains a challenge for many. This leaves people struggling in silence rather than getting the support they need. The pace of technological change and global uncertainty creates a constant undercurrent of anxiety about the future. It's hard to feel settled when the ground seems to be constantly shifting beneath our feet. We often confuse pleasure with happiness. While there's nothing wrong with enjoying life's pleasures, relying on them as our primary source of fulfillment leaves us chasing fleeting highs rather than cultivating deeper contentment. Our tendency to fixate on the future or ruminate on the past robs us of the present moment, the only time we can actually experience happiness. We're so busy planning or worrying that we miss the joy available right now. Many of us have unrealistic expectations about what happiness should look like. We expect to feel ecstatic all the time, when in reality, a life well lived includes a full range of emotions. This leads to disappointment and self-judgment when we inevitably experience difficult feelings. Our culture often pathologizes normal human emotions like sadness, anger, or anxiety. This creates additional suffering as we judge ourselves for having these feelings rather than accepting them as part of the human experience. We underestimate the importance of physical factors in our mental well-being. Poor sleep, lack of exercise, and unhealthy diets can have a profound impact on our mood and resilience, yet we often neglect these foundational aspects of health. Many of us struggle with perfectionism, setting impossibly high standards for ourselves, and then feeling like failures when we inevitably fall short. This creates a constant sense of not being good enough that undermines our happiness. We often outsource our happiness to others, believing that the right relationship or social circle will finally make us feel complete. While connections are crucial, true contentment has to come from within. Our culture's emphasis on youth and novelty can make it hard to appreciate the present. We're always chasing the next milestone or experience rather than savoring where we are right now. Many of us have lost touch with our intrinsic motivations, instead pursuing goals that we think we should want. This misalignment between our actions and our true values leads to a sense of emptiness even when we achieve outward success. We often neglect the power of small, consistent actions in favor of grand gestures. Real change and growth happen through daily habits, not occasional bursts of motivation. Our tendency to catastrophize and imagine worst-case scenarios creates unnecessary suffering. We expend enormous mental energy on problems that may never materialize, robbing ourselves of peace in the present. Many of us struggle with decision paralysis in the face of overwhelming options. The fear of making the wrong choice can keep us stuck and dissatisfied with our current situation. We underestimate the importance of having a sense of progress and growth in our lives. Stagnation breeds discontent, even if our current circumstances are objectively good. Our culture often glorifies busyness and hustle, leaving little room for rest and recovery. This can lead to chronic stress and burnout, undermining our capacity for joy and engagement. Many of us have a skewed relationship with control, either trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives or feeling completely powerless. Finding the balance between acceptance and purposeful action is crucial for well-being. We often neglect the power of our physical environment on our mental state. Clutter, noise, and uninspiring surroundings can subtly drain our energy and mood. Many of us struggle with healthy boundaries, either overextending ourselves to please others or isolating to protect ourselves. Both extremes leave us feeling depleted and unfulfilled. Our culture's emphasis on rationality often leads us to discount the importance of play, creativity, and wonder in our lives. These elements are crucial for a sense of aliveness and joy. We underestimate the impact of our self-talk on our happiness. The running commentary in our heads can be a source of encouragement or a constant critic, profoundly shaping our experience of life. Many of us have lost touch with our bodies, living primarily in our heads. This disconnection deprives us of valuable emotional information and the grounding effect of physical sensations. We often neglect the importance of having a sense of purpose or meaning in our lives. Without a compelling why to guide us, it's easy to feel adrift and unsatisfied. Our culture's emphasis on independence can make it hard to ask for help when we need it. This leaves us struggling alone with burdens that could be lightened through connection and support. Many of us have a fraught relationship with time, either anxiously racing against it or feeling like we're wasting it. Learning to work with time rather than against it is crucial for contentment. We often underestimate the power of our habits and routines in shaping our overall well-being. Small daily choices compound over time to create our life experience. Many of us struggle with comparison, constantly measuring ourselves against others or against our own idealized standards. This robs us of the ability to appreciate our unique journey. Our culture often emphasizes external achievements over internal growth. We chase promotions and accolades without addressing the inner work that leads to true fulfillment. We underestimate the importance of aligning our actions with our values. When we consistently behave in ways that contradict our core beliefs, it creates inner conflict and dissatisfaction. Many of us have a complex relationship with change, either resisting it entirely or constantly seeking it out. Finding the balance between stability and growth is key to sustainable happiness. Our tendency to ruminate on past mistakes or worrying about future problems keeps us from fully engaging with the present moment, where true happiness is experienced. We often neglect the power of gratitude in shaping our perception of life. Regularly acknowledging the good in our lives can profoundly shift our overall sense of well-being. Many of us struggle with imposter syndrome, feeling like frauds even when we've legitimately earned our successes. This undermines our ability to fully enjoy our achievements. Our culture's emphasis on speed and efficiency can make it hard to slow down and savor positive experiences. Learning to stretch out and fully absorb good moments is crucial for lasting happiness. We underestimate the impact of our physical posture and movement on our mood. Something as simple as changing how we hold our bodies can shift our emotional state. Many of us have a fraught relationship with vulnerability, either oversharing or completely walling ourselves off. Finding the balance of authentic connection while maintaining healthy boundaries is key to fulfilling relationships. Our tendency to avoid discomfort can keep us stuck in unfulfilling situations. Growth and positive change often require pushing through temporary discomfort. We often neglect the power of forgiveness, both for others and ourselves, in freeing up emotional energy and creating space for happiness. Many of us struggle with accepting the inherent uncertainty of life. Learning to embrace ambiguity and find peace amidst unpredictability is crucial for lasting contentment. Our culture's emphasis on productivity can make it hard to justify time for reflection and introspection. Yet these moments of stillness are often where we gain the most clarity and insight. We underestimate the impact of our social circles on our happiness. Surrounding ourselves with positive, supportive people can profoundly influence our own outlook and behavior. Many of us have a complicated relationship with success, either fearing it or believing it will solve all our problems. Learning to pursue goals while staying grounded in the present is key. Our tendency to label experiences as good or bad creates unnecessary suffering. Cultivating a more nuanced, accepting approach to life's ups and downs can lead to greater equanimity. We often neglect the power of service and contribution in creating a sense of meaning and fulfillment. Connecting to something larger than ourselves is a powerful antidote to self-absorption and discontent. Many of us struggle with self-compassion, treating ourselves far more harshly than we would a friend. Learning to be kind to ourselves, especially in difficult moments, is crucial for resilience and well-being. Our culture's emphasis on extroversion can make it hard for introverts to honor their needs for solitude and quiet reflection. Understanding and respecting our own temperament is key to personal harmony. We underestimate the impact of our consumption habits, whether media, food, or material goods, on our mental state. Being mindful of what we take in can profoundly affect our outlook. Many of us have lost touch with our innate creativity and playfulness. Reconnecting with these aspects of ourselves can bring a sense of vitality and joy to our lives. Why does happiness seem so elusive, no matter how hard we chase it? The pursuit of happiness has become an obsession in our modern world. We're bombarded with messages telling us that if we just buy this product, achieve that goal, or look a certain way, we'll finally be happy. Yet despite all our efforts, true contentment remains frustratingly out of reach for many of us. This disconnect stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of how happiness actually works. We've been sold a false bill of goods, the idea that happiness is a destination we can arrive at if we just follow the right steps. In reality, happiness is more like a skill that requires ongoing practice and cultivation.